Johnson here, and so I'm going to go ahead and bring Adronis in, as he's going to be talking about a very interesting topic, which is the Mandela effect. Basically giving ideas that people have different forms of memories, alternative memories, relating to what has been written in the history books. And I've certainly had these on certain occasions, but really haven't paid too much of mind. But being able to really do a lot of recent discovery of this, it's definitely something worth talking about and getting more of an understanding and saying, well, are these people just crazy? Or are they just, have false memories implanted? What's going on here? But just being able to see the overwhelming amount of cases and testimonies from other people who remember other alternative forms of memories throughout history, it's really good to take a look at this. And so I'm going to go ahead and bring Adronis in, and he'll comment more in regards to the Mandela effect. So I'll go ahead and bring him through, and we'll get started. We are here at this time, and we bid you greetings, and thank you very much for the opportunity of this interaction today. I am Adronis of Sirius, sending love, appreciation, and gratitude to all who are tuning in to this particular broadcast being brought forward through your internet collective consciousness. Adronis, what is up with the idea of this Mandela effect? The idea of Nelson Mandela, where many of you feel that there have been, shall we say, alternative memories as it pertains to his death, as other particular forms of phenomena that relate to, again, how other people remember different events within your histories. And this is exactly the key word that we wish to bring to all of you. The idea of histories, and not the idea of history. Now basically what has been happening is since the start of your new millennium, that there have been, shall we say, shifts taking place on a planetary matrix scale. We are not saying the idea of what you would know as a singular Earth, but we are looking in the idea of, in that sense, fluctuations of different dimensional Earths, of different universes that have actually begun to patternize. Now this is, again, in a way, why there has been so many different challenges in people being able to give very highly accurate predictions of what you know as the future. Simply because you are crossing the plateaus of so many different parallel realities throughout many different Earths that it is, in that sense, a gamble. Basically looking at the roll of the dice and feeling that you will be able to hit the number, relating to all the shifts, relating to all the fluctuations that have been happening. Now through this particular time, you have been navigating through what you would know as different universal constants as it represents your Earth planetary grid matrix. So through this time of the earlier millennium, up until this particular time, you have gone through many different fluctuations of different universal principles that are now solidifying and amalgamating themselves together. Now understand that you have termed this as the Mandela effect, but really what we term this as is the amalgamation effect. Basically what this is bringing forward is the idea that certain forms of timelines are being stripped away. Sometimes they may seem minute or trivial in the idea in the minds of many, but these particular forms of timelines are being stripped away like a snake shedding its skin, as we've talked about before. And that the combination of universes, if we were to have a universe number 1, a universe number 2, a universe number 3, etc., these particular universes are shredding off certain forms of skin representing the idea of memory. And basically they are amalgamating and converging themselves together. And this is precisely what has happened in regards to other beings from other universes solidifying and amalgamating themselves into one amalgamated planetary grid system of your own Earth. This is why many of you are noticing that there have been other memories in regards to history that you are now discovering is different within this universe. Yes, this is all part of the amalgamation effect. This is all part of how the Mandela effect itself in that way, is basically starting to crisscross into other intersections where you are communicating with other people indigenous to this universe who may think that you are absolutely crazy of even bringing about some type of alternative history as it pertains to your memory. So, even though many of you have crossed the threshold, have moved into another particular parallel Earth, where everything, in a retrospect, seems quite quote-unquote normal, but now you're noticing these small nuances. You're noticing these particular forms of transformations of memory of how history itself has come forward through the example of Nelson Mandela. Did he die in prison, etc.? Well, in one parallel Earth, he did. In this particular parallel Earth, he didn't. So this is giving you the idea about how these histories are crisscrossing, because you have reached intersections together with the form of one Earth that had a different alternative approach to another particular Earth that has, again, a completely different alternative approach, and they are bringing themselves together and stripping away the unnecessities pertaining to what you would know as memory that is not sufficient in regards to its full complex of compatibility. And this represents the idea of what you would know as the Mandela Effect. The idea of, again, what this conduit has shared recently, relating to the idea of what you would know as the story called the Berenstain Bears, or the Berenstain Bears in that particular way. That in this particular reality, it has always been known as the Berenstain Bears. But in another reality, it was known as the Berenstain Bears. So again, this is representing the idea of the crisscross, the amalgamation effect that has been taking place most intensely through the start of your new millennium. Now, Adronis, will this continue to happen? Yes. You will still be, in that sense, going through different forms of amalgamations. It will not be as intense as it certainly was in the earlier start of your millennium, moving up into 2012, and then again moving further into the idea of 2019. So again, these are basically what you would know as 7-year intervals. As you know, the human body fully rebuilds itself every 7 years. Well, in a way, in regards to looking at the Earth, pertaining to timelines, pertaining to sequences, pertaining to continuity, the Earth does as well. But again, this was what you would know as a very intense threshold crossing period, to where the Earth, in that sense, through timelines, has rearranged herself and brought herself into the intersection of many of these different universes that have amalgamated together to form the equilibrium of what you would know as the current universe to which you reside. And again, the idea of memories themselves will always be relative. Understand that every time you're crossing the plateau of different dimensional Earths, they have, shall we say, different forms of variations of relativity that relate to historical information. So this is basically why this is happening, is giving you the indication that parallel realities exist. Alternate universes exist. There is more so in the idea that you are receiving this message to giving you the indication that yes, history is certainly that of relativity. It is not the idea that something must be fact and that's how it is and it will never change. Incorrect. It is only considered fact based upon the indigenous universe that considers that to be valid. When you are basically crossing the plateaus between these parallel universes, you will notice that historical data has the opportunity to be relative. And that is primarily what you are experiencing here through the Mandela Effect. As we've told many of you, throughout the years, you are moving into a new Earth. And through that particular way of understanding this, different forms of historical data can therefore change to giving yourselves proof that you have shifted from one Earth to another. So this is primarily what you are experiencing. And again, as we stated, you will meet other people who are indigenous to this universe who will think that you are absolutely crazy, that you have lost your mind in thinking that the Berenstain Bears, in that sense, was ever called that, or Nelson Mandela died in prison. They will think that you have gone completely bonkers. But that's all right. They are indigenous to this universe that you have now solidified yourselves together within through the amalgamation effect. Now, why are we again moving through these different forms of universes throughout this planetary dimensional grid? Well, as we stated, you are moving into appropriate conjuncted timelines that help you to usher in more of what the collective consciousness is looking to experience. So basically looking into the idea of a collective consciousness as this very giant being. And it is basically playing together with these different strands of timelines and saying, this goes good together, this goes good together, oh, that goes good together as well. Oh, let's take that part out. Here's another good part that looks good together. So basically what's happening is that these strands of realities are now amalgamating themselves together into an earth that you prefer. So that is primarily what's happening. It is not the idea that you are just choosing one single route and going that particular direction. No. It is the idea that you are taking many different qualities of different universes and squeezing them together and amalgamating themselves together in that way. As we've talked about in a previous video, that yes, you are going through a planetary mitosis, and now you are going into a planetary osmosis on a dimensional level. And so you are amalgamating yourselves together into these different strands of universal constants that are now becoming one. And again, this fluctuation will continue to happen. Again, there will reach a point where it will lessen. But right now, you are going through an intense shift. And so, it may be that you have other surprises that await you as it relates to what you have termed as the Mandela Effect. I am Adronis of Sirius. Thank you very much. We now return to the conduit. We'll speak to you again, as now is forever, and all is one. Goodbye. All right, well, great information there. So thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in. Definitely sheds a little bit more light in regards to the idea of the Mandela effect. I'm definitely looking into it a lot more. I just find the whole process very, very fascinating. And what really just got me to do this video was looking at the idea of the Berenstain and the Berenstain. As a kid, I remember Berenstain. You know, I read those books almost religiously. And I would look at the title and I said, come on guys, you're not going to fool me into thinking that it's called Berenstain, right? I saw exactly, there was an E there wasn't an A, and I can, swear and testify that 110%. I even watched the TV show as well too. So again, having all of these different forms of transformations taking place was just incredible to see. Just having such kind of a joyous curiosity, saying, oh, okay, we've moved into another Earth. Very, very fascinating. So I'm sure that's probably the way with many of you, remembering the Berenstain Bears or Nelson Mandela, and a lot more. So this is why I wanted to make that video, this video to look more into the Mandela effect. But again, feel free to visit realitywhisperer.com. A lot more free videos there. Check out the YouTube channel and subscribe. And any questions, feel free again to reach me on realitywhisperer.com. Thank you so much, and I'll talk to you again soon. Namaste, and may it be well with you. Goodbye.